Hello again. I've got one more toy review for you guys before the next big discussion video. Managed to snag the last few Warrior class figures of the 2015 Robots in Disguise line. So tonight we're going to be taking a look at Bludgeon, Twinferno, and Thermidor. These figures have taken a while to show up in stores. Personally, I haven't seen any at a brick and mortar store. I managed to find these online at a website that typically carries Transformers. Two of these guys are redecos or retools. The only new one is Twinferno, so let's get started taking a look at them. Twinferno is the only new mold in the wave, and what a strange mold he is. He turns into some sort of red stealth bomber looking jet with flames shooting out the back and dragon heads, which are supposed to be, I guess, some sort of ornaments or cannons for it. It's a very strange, take. Twinferno is based, loosely on the Generation 1 character Double Cross, and shares the new trademark friendly name with Double Cross's Titan's Return reinvention that happened, 2017. So, not a lot of things going on here. Pretty solid. Dragon heads can move around a little bit. Typical, under kibble. You can, if you want to, take these flames and put them in the dragon mouths in this mode if you want it to look like it's, shooting flames out the front. It's up to you. Here's the robot mode. I started with this figure because honestly it's my least favorite of the bunch. So I'm just going to kind of go over some reasons why. It feels very cheaply made. Like it's extremely light, very hollow feeling. The back of his head is just open. It feels like kind of a step backwards. The Warrior class toys over the course of the Robots in Disguise line had, they had a rough start, weren't really that great, but gradually became more and more, detailed and high quality to the point where they felt like true, deluxes. This doesn't feel like that. It just, I don't know, it feels like a toy that shouldn't cost more than maybe $10 at the most. And I don't know how widespread of an issue this is, but on my particular copy, the left foot really doesn't sit flush like the right one does. It's kind of a little crooked, and it doesn't greatly affect him, standing or anything, but it does bug me. Just like any Robots in Disguise toy, he's got his little scan badge there. His posability is just fine. He's got everything you need to pose him dynamically. Not an issue. As you can see, he can hold these little flames in his dragon mouths. And oddly, I'm not really sure what's going on with this because the instructions are so vague. You can, they have this square peg that you can peg him in here with. But they also have a round 5mm peg. And the only place on his body I'm aware of that has, a hole for that is the underside of his dragon chins. So, I don't know. It gives you an option, I guess, of how you want to attach it, but it seems kind of silly. It doesn't really look right to have it on the underside of the chin there. And I don't know. Again, I don't know if the designers just really knew what they wanted to do with this figure. He's just all over the place. He's a dragon jet. His colors are garish. His gimmick is kind of confusing, uncertain. As a character, he's cool looking. Looks like some sort of aerial ace with the visor and all that. He's definitely nothing to write home about. Next we have Thermidor. And just like his in-show character model, he's just a new head retooling of the older character Bisque. I do like his coloration. It doesn't really make one think of a lobster so much, but just the blue on him is really cool looking, very sleek. Having these guns here up on the top is optional. You can always take them off if you don't like them. Drop them on the table, whatever floats your boat. He has this neat detail of having this kind of spoiler on the back that evokes a lobster tail, which is a neat design cue, given that his robot mode is made to resemble a humanoid lobster. And speaking of his robot mode, let's check it out. And there he is. He's got this cool, blue lobster motif going on. Has these large claws, blasters on top, so he's not without weapons. This is the new head sculpt that I mentioned. It's made to resemble, the character from the show. I don't know if his antennae are supposed to be bent the way they are, or if that's just a result of them being soft plastic and being held in certain ways. Head only rotates this way, so not like up or down or anything. But standard articulation. And he's more of a fun toy to look at than play with. Playing with him, he's a little finicky. His odd proportions, can make it difficult to stand him up sometimes. And for comparison, here's his mold mate Bisque. See the very marked difference in their heads here. Everything else is the same mold. I definitely like Thermidor more. I like his colors more, even though, they don't really work for a lobster per se. And I definitely like his head sculpt more. Just Bisque is so ugly to look at. I mean, some people like that about him. It's part of his charm. But I think Thermidor just looks way cooler. And for anyone not up with their, seafood lingo, the names Bisque and Thermidor both refer to lobster dishes you can eat. So, fun fact for anyone that didn't know that. And finally, we have Bludgeon. Personally, this is the figure I was looking forward to most in this wave. It's not often you get a good Bludgeon toy out there. It's a pretty popular character, especially for older fans. So having a full-size toy of him made for this line was a really nice surprise when they unveiled it, which was, I think, it wasn't BotCon. I forget, I think it was a Toy Fair, or maybe HasCon, something. Anywho, he turns into a double-barreled tank. Has a storage space for his sword on top there. Tank turret rotates. That's about all the articulation you get. There are wheels so you can roll it across the ground, albeit not very well. My copy, this bit right here does not stay flush, which is not an issue I have with my other versions of this mold. Speaking of the mold, I did mention that he's a redeco, but both him and his mold mate are actually retools of the deluxe Megatronus figure. Here's the robot mode and all of his skeletal samurai coolness. He has all the benchmarks of what people kind of come to expect in a Bludgeon toy by now. Has the skull face, samurai helmet. It's got the red, orange, and green color scheme. He has the skull-shaped chest, which is actually a feature that was made popular on the Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon, who is, a movie toy, but has really inspired the look of the character henceforth. Very popular toy. Sword looks good, has a nice metallic quality to it. It's got the cannons, which are mounted on his shoulders, though you do have the option of pulling them down off of his shoulders and letting him hold it like a double-barreled weapon. He has very good articulation. Everything turns every which way. Wrists aren't articulated, which is a shame, but not surprising considered the generally, simpler build of these toys compared to their generation's counterparts. He's got the cool little kind of samurai skirt thing going on in the back there. Yeah, and he just looks good. Definitely one of the coolest figures to come out of RID. Here's his mold mate Blastwave. You can see, very different color schemes, but they are the same figure as far as the mold's concerned. Bludgeon and Blastwave are kind of an interesting situation. Bludgeon was the toy that was actually revealed first. However, Blastwave was the toy that was released first, like by a huge margin. And Blastwave, despite being a new character, was the only one to actually appear in the Robots in Disguise cartoon. despite his popularity, Bludgeon never actually appeared in the show, or any form of media for that matter. So it was kind of an odd choice. The animation took some liberties to kind of further differentiate the two. You know, Blastwave's toy shares the same skeletal features that Bludgeon has. In the cartoon, they kind of covered up the skull face, just gave him a generic blank white face, as well as, you know, stylizing the helmet differently to not make him look like a blue version of Bludgeon. He only appeared in one episode, you know, purely just to advertise the toy. Nothing more. It's a bit disappointing that, you know, Heatwave didn't really get any more time than the one episode, and that Bludgeon got no time at all, because how cool would it be to have, you know, the scary samurai show up and really just ruin everyone's day in that cartoon. So yeah, Bludgeon's exploits in the RID universe will only live on in our headcanon. But that's okay, because we get a great figure out of it. And for anybody that hasn't already found their quintessential Bludgeon toy, you know, if you're one of those like one toy per character type collectors, this one is a good choice for it. You know, the Revenge of the Fallen toy is very popular and very cool looking, but for me personally, he just gives off way too much of the movie style for me to feel like that is a stand-in for Generation 1 Bludgeon. I would kind of rather choose this toy over that one, but that all comes down to your personal preference. Either way, I think this is a really good figure. I think it's a, you know, clever retooling they did of the Megatronus toy, and I really like the way it came out. And there they are, final Warrior class toys of Robots in Disguise 2015. It's been a long ride. I can't say RID was my favorite series ever. The really jarring tone shift from its prequel, Transformers Prime, was not my favorite thing in the world. And the toy quality has been, you know, pretty hit or miss. This is obviously a cartoon and toy line designed at a slightly younger audience than Prime was, so the toys reflect that in their lower complexity, which is why they are a little bit cheaper than your like deluxe classes. Despite their close similarities, Warrior and Deluxe are a little bit different. But I think overall this last, you know, wave was a pretty strong way to go out. People were kind of surprised to find out we were getting a Thermidor. They didn't think they were going to bother painting Bisque blue, and especially didn't think they were going to give him a brand new head, considering that they didn't do anything new for the Quillfire redeco. Bludgeon was a really good surprise for this line. Was such a kid-friendly cartoon, who would have thought that they would have gone out with such an intimidating, you know, frankly, scary character. Despite the fact that two of these figures are just recolors of previous ones, I do still feel that they are just the better uses of their respective molds. You know, I feel like a good bit of thought went into, you know, bringing these characters to us. Twinferno, I mean, I don't even know. The guy's an enigma. He didn't appear in the show, so really nothing's known about him. He looks like what would happen if Double Cross and an aerial bot had a baby. I mean, just, who knows what's going on with him. But, I mean, it is a new character with a new toy, you know, new design, so I can't really complain. But that's my take on these things. And having given my take, I'm going to go ahead and end the review here. Hope you guys found this insightful. I hope for, you know, anybody looking for these figures, you have luck in locating them. And I look forward to you guys, you know, leaving any thoughts below on the figures themselves, the review. I always love hearing what you guys have to say. You know, that's kind of the highlight of my day, is getting a new comment on a video and just seeing what people have to say about it. Interacting with other Transformers fans out there. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, I will see you next time.